30th, 2020. Happy Halloween, happy near Election Day, and happy Friday. Lots of good stuff. Dr. Campos, we have quorum.
Mr. President, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. We have President Good, we have Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Villegas. President Good, you do have a quorum. For the record, President Good, Vice President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Villegas are in the office here at City Hall, and Commissioner Garcia is joining us remotely. We're also joined by our General Counsel, Mr. Ted Jordan, who is joining in remotely as well, and myself, I am here at City Hall dialing in remotely. President Good, you do have a quorum at this time. You also have one speaker on the line for general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section, and we also have one speaker on the line that would like to speak on all the items for today's special agenda.
Okay, let's go ahead and thank you, Dr. Campos. Let's go ahead and hear the caller's general public comment, and then we'll move on to the items.
Yeah, absolutely. Caller ending in 403, Mr. Spindler Puppet. Can you please press *6 at this time? You will be given 2 minutes to speak under general public comment. Caller ending in 403, Mr. Spindler, aka Puppet. Can you please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone? You'll be given 2 minutes to speak under general public comment. One last attempt. Caller ending in 403. Caller ending in 403. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak at this time. Please go ahead. General public comments, 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're up. Go ahead, dummy. All right. Yes, so we have a number of your city trash cans between 8th Street and South Hoover, James M. Woods and South Hoover, that have been set on fire, burnt to the ground. Pretty plastic trash cans that you are responsible for maintaining. And you leave these burnt hulks on our sidewalks in Koreatown. You evil bastards. And then the reason it happens is because you won't clean up the homeless encampments. No, you leave them there. And they're out burning trash cans and setting fires in back of the alley and the businesses. And what are you doing, Board of Public Works Commissioners, with all your fancy salaries and titles? You're listening to a goat puppet. That's what you're doing on a Friday. You should be on the golf course right now. You should be on the 9th hole right now at Riviera, socially distancing. Instead, you're in tiny little bunkers with little masks on, listening to goat puppet. We want our trash cans replaced. We want the burnt refuse cleaned up. And then finally, why is the city violating the Clean Water Act over on the corner of Etowanda and Burbank? Now, you have a homeless encampment on county property, but you, according to Sheila Keel, are responsible for maintenance. And you're not cleaning up the... You're a bunch of fucking jack-offs.
2 minutes.
Thank you. All right. Colleagues, as a starting point, unless there's any objections, I would like to, I'm going to go ahead and continue item 19, which is a overview of the discussion on, or really a report back on graffiti photos. Commissioner Colosa, in particular, had asked for this report back, and she's not able to join us today. So we're gonna continue that to Tuesday, November 10th. Any objections, colleagues? Okay.
No objection.
Great, thank you.
No objections.
No objections.
All right, so then let's move back. We'll go ahead. Let's take item number 1, which is the approval of the minutes from Tuesday, October 20, 2020. Do I have a second to my motion to approve minutes?
Mr. President, we do have a speaker on the line for item number 1.
Oh, okay. Is this, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Spindler.
Go ahead.
Mr. Spindler, caller ending in 403, please press *6 at this time. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 1. This is part of your 10-minute cumulative total that you will be allowed to speak on the items for today. Mr. Spindler, please press *6 at this time. We are on item number 1. Last call for caller ending in 403. Caller ending in 403. Please go ahead. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 1.
I just need 1 minute.
Please go ahead.
1 minute, so I have 9 minutes left, right?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so let's see here. Item number 1, approval of minutes. Where in the fuck is the link to the minutes? I'm pressing my little phone dingy here, and there's no little blue thingy to click on the minutes underneath item 1. In fact, it says the site can't be reached. Oh, shame on you guys. Shame on you guys. And you guys think that that's acceptable behavior when you're going to put Jose Huizar in prison for 100 years? You should be doing that. Where the fuck are the minutes? They should be there. I should click the little button. Now, when Kevin James was there, before he ran off to go rat you guys off to the feds, he used to have a little book in the back with the minutes. So you have the minutes. Where the fuck are they? The public can't see. Now, if you guys were to be on a video Zoom, you could just put them up on the screen and screen share. But because you're hiding what you're doing, you got to put us on the phone and leave us blind and in the dark about what you're doing. So I would table this item until we have a hot link and we can see those minutes. Because there's a lot of important shit that happened at that meeting. Such as what? I spoke. I told you not to interrupt me. So I'm going to have to give my puppet his own phone. Okay, that's my 1 minute.
Actually, 1 minute, 45 seconds. Thank you. Do I have a second to my motion to approve the minutes?
So
Alex?
moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any objections, Vice President Garcia?
No objections.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis.
No objections.
All right, hearing no objections, the minutes from Tuesday, October 20th are approved. That brings us to item number 2. Colleagues, Ruben Flamenco is here with us to present on a number of street lighting assessment hearings. I think items 2 through 13 are all assessment hearings. We're going to take those together, and unless you have any concerns with that, Mr. Flamenco. Otherwise, we'll take items 2 through 13 together. I believe we have a caller who would like to speak on all of those items. So, Dr. Campos, why don't you go ahead and give him the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is now considering items 2 through 13. Under the 10-minute cumulative rule, you have 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Please go ahead and speak.
I'll only need a minute on these. So I'm just going to use a minute.
Please go ahead.
Now, when I get to my minute, let me know. Don't try that sneaky shit like you just did ripping me off 15 seconds. You know, FBI's listening.
Mr. Spindler, I'm sorry. Mr. Spindler, your time is not running currently. This is the attorney. It's not the executive officer's responsibility to meter out your time. Because you're speaking on a number of the items and we're hearing those items together, the executive officer has indicated that based on the 2 minute per item rule and the cumulative 10-minute rule. You currently have
Yeah,
8
but
minutes.
why-
And Mr. Spindler, I'm
Told
speaking.
you to
Mr.
pass
Spindler,
by 1 fucking minute. Why can't you just do it right?
Mr. Spindler, it's your responsibility to monitor your
Why?
own time. Okay, Mr.
And how am I
Campos,
gonna
you may
do
be
that?
running this time now.
How the fuck am I gonna do that? I have a
Thank you,
fucking
Mr.
phone.
Chairman. I will go ahead and start. Mr.
I'm
Spindler,
supposed to
I am
have what, a
starting-
fucking
Mr.
computer?
Spindler,
What do you
I am
think I am,
starting
the
your
fucking
time.
CIA?
Mr. Spindler, I'm
You guys have to
starting your
keep the
time again.
fucking
Thank
time.
you.
You have to
Please
keep
go
the
ahead.
fucking time.
Please go ahead.
Right?
The time is starting
Don't you
now.
keep the fucking, you guys keep the fucking time, right? You got a clock somewhere, right? That's the whole problem with you guys. The whole fucking problem with you guys is the way you run things. You do it with overt acts of corruption. You can run this
Mr.
thing with
Spindler,
a
please
video.
keep your comments to the agenda
You
items
can
that you're
run,
speaking on.
you can run this fucking shit where I could look at item 2, 3, 4, and I could see it on my screen. But you won't do that. I have to be on a phone so you can try to hide as much shit as possible from the taxpayers. It's a fucking pay-to-play scheme. That's what Weezer is going to jail for 100 years for. Is shit like this agenda. Look at this fucking shit. Look at it. Everywhere. Assessment,
Mr. Spindler,
assessment,
you've been
assessment,
currently
assessment.
speaking for over a minute.
Assessment. Assessment for what? You have fucking poles that are owned by the DWP. They will give you these lights for no charge as long as you request it and they put it on the utility pole. You can fucking have free lighting courtesy of the DWP if you were to arrange this correctly. But instead, you have to go and pay off your outside contractors to erect new equipment and waste fucking money and charge the taxpayers and the homeowners and the businesses for this bullshit. That's the problem. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been doing this for 25 fucking years, and before that, my other life I used to have, I did it the other way, similar to what's going on the other side of the dark fence of City Hall. So I know that all of this shit, you have DWP or Edison pole. You could request them to put the lights on the poles. No charge to the taxpayer. No charge to anybody, but you won't do it. You guys like to cause people trouble and cost people money. CD6, CD12. You got number 2, Sepulveda Boulevard and Howard Hughes Parkway. Homeless encampments. CD12, Roscoe and Anawanda. Homeless encampments. CD5, Van Owen Street and Millwood. Homeless encampments. So what you're doing is you need more lighting to watch all the goddamn fucking theft going around because you won't clean up the streets of these homeless criminals. Your answer is to tax lighting and you lock them all on one agenda and you want to take them all together. Yeah, of course you want to take them all together because you've already voted. This meeting is nothing but a puppet fucking show. And it's good, and I want the feds to know that. I want you guys out there to know that in D.C., Virginia, and our guests out of New York today, that that's what these fuckers keep doing. So you're not fucking giving these people a wake-up call with Weezer and Goldman and Englander. They're keeping their fucking stealing going, and they're making it worse, folks. Take a look at this agenda. How many of these could be free courtesy of utility poles and electric company? All of them. And you guys aren't going to do shit. You don't even publish your minutes. So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about on that agenda. Fuck these items. Fuck you. And grand jury, get your asses off, and let's get more of these unsealed indictments, because they got 44 of them right here. We need to get these people out of City Hall. Out of City Hall. We need to get trustees that are licensed, funded, and insured to run the city, account for the money, so we can figure out how much has been stolen, what we have to sell, and what we have to refinance. We cannot live with the city being run like this by you guys anymore. That's why Kevin left. Why do you think Kevin James left that job? Because he was too low of a pay? What do you think he's gone for? How about Joel Jacinto? Where's he been lately? Think about that, huh? Huh? You know, and what do you guys do? Yeah, I have a motion to approve the items. And see, you know, any objection though? So it's all prearranged. Put these things on Zoom and show the real cost. Now people will scream. See, but you don't want to do that. So anyway, there you go there. What's that attorney there, Wolf? How much time did I use? How much time did I use?
We'll go ahead and stop the clock. 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Thank you, Mr. Spindler.
Okay, all right. Ruben, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon. Why don't you go ahead?
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Items 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Item 5 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with a Bureau of Street Lighting initiated LED conversion project. Only public parcels are impacted. No private parcels are included in this particular lighting district. Items 6 and 11 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with Bureau of Engineering initiated street improvement projects. Ballots for items 2 through 13 were mailed on September 23rd, 2020. Ballots for items 2 through 13 must be received by the City Clerk's office by Tuesday, November 10th. We are requesting for the board to deny the protest that we just heard. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 2 through 13 forthwith to City Council.
Thank you, Ruben. Commissioner Villegas, any questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Great, thank you. President Pro Tem Davis?
No questions for me on this item of street lighting.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. And any questions or comments, Vice President Garcia?
No questions or comments either.
All right. All right, Ruben, I don't have any questions either. Thanks for walking through and thanks for the reports. Hearing no objections, the items are approved forthwith. That brings us to item number 14 in CD7. This is the relinquishment of rights, 9050 Terhune Avenue, Lot 10, Tract 22503. Recommending the board, 1, execute the attached document relinquishing any and all rights to the City of Los Angeles for public street purposes within the future street shown on the attached Exhibit A. Subject to the following condition, petitioner shall make satisfactory arrangements with the Real Estate Division of the Bureau of Engineering, 1149 South Broadway, 6th floor, Los Angeles, California, 90015, with respect to payment of document recording fees. 2, request the city clerk to attest the signatures of the Public Works Commissioners. And 3, instruct the RED of the Bureau, the RED is the Real Estate Division, instruct the RED of the Bureau of Engineering to record the executed document in the office of the county recorder when the condition and recommendation number 1 has been satisfied. Bert Mucklebust from the Bureau of Engineering is with us. Good afternoon, Bert. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. This is in Council District 7. Please go ahead and tell us about it.
Mr. President, would you like to consider public comments first or after the presentation?
We'd be bored otherwise. Let's go ahead and have our public comment on this item.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Caller ending in 403. Caller ending in 403. Can you please unmute your microphone at this time by pressing *6? The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 14. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on this item. You have a cumulative total of 3 minutes and 1 second left under your 10-minute rule. Please go ahead and speak. Caller ending in 403, please press *6 at this time. The Board of Public Works is considering item number 14. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on this item. You have 3 minutes and 1 second left under the 10-minute rule. Last call for caller ending in 403. Please press *6 to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on this item, item number 14. You have 3 minutes and 1 second left under the 10-minute rule. Mr. President, the caller on the line 403 is not responsive and not responding to our calls for this item. Please go ahead.
All right, Bert, thanks so much. Go ahead.
Perfect. Good afternoon. My name is Bert Mokelbus. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering's Permit Case Management Division. This item is a request for the relinquishment of the rights to a future street on Lot 10 in Tract 22503, known as 9050 Terhune. This future street was created as part of the recordation of Act 22503, which took place September 16, 1963. That lot was subsequently sold to third parties. Acceptance of that future street was not endorsed as part of the map, and that particular area has not been improved or used as a public street. Council District 7 has been notified and has no objection to the request for the relinquishment. The time limit of 25 years has since lapsed, so we're requesting that the board execute the documents for relinquishment of that future right-of-way.
All right, thank you, Bert. Any questions, Commissioner Villegas?
Yeah, I have a clarifying question. Mr. Mucklebust? Bert. I didn't want to mess up your last name. Sorry about that. A quick question. With the relinquishment of this, it looks like it's a sliver of land, which was at one point just a paper street. Who then gets that land? Is it 50-50 between both homes, or how is that parceled off?
So again, when you have these subdivisions that take place, the lot that gave up the rights for the future street would be entitled to that particular future street. If I'm looking at the map, it would go entirely to that lot in question. It would not be split 50-50. So unlike vacations where you may have multiple owners requesting the vacation, typically future streets are associated with one parcel by itself, and they usually just have that particular future reservation removed from that parcel.
Okay, thank you. I see that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have no more questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioner Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
No questions for me on this item.
All right, and Vice President Garcia?
No questions from me either. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bert, I know we have several of these coming up. I'm assuming you're going to be presenting on each, and I'm going to be reading them each. Are these, what was the impetus for these all coming together like this? Curious.
So yes, typically what happens is applicants come in and request these relinquishments, and therefore we go through the process of doing the research and identifying what needs to be done. And we just submit them kind of as batches so that one, it creates, I guess, the familiarity on this particular process, but we don't want to be constantly coming at every particular meeting. So the goal is hopefully maybe come in once a month or something like that with a group of maybe 3 or 4 as the applications come through.
And are there a lot of these?
There's quite a few. There was a backlog for a while, so these are circa 2019 applications, so I can verify in the future as to how many are coming down the pike. But I'd say we typically process about 4 to 5 a month.
Okay. All right. That's helpful. Thank you. All right. Do I have a motion to move this forward?
So move.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Vice President Garcia. Any objections, Commissioner Villegas?
No objections. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. Hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. So now we'll move to item 15. Dr. Campos, do we have a caller?
Yes, we do, Mr. President. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 15. Please press *6 at this time to speak. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak. You still have 3 minutes and 1 second left under the 10-minute rule. caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403, please press *6 at this time to begin to speak on item number 15. You will be given 2 minutes to speak.
Okay.
Last call, caller ending in 403, please press *6 to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 15. Hearing no response, Mr. President, please go ahead.
Thank you. So item 15, this is in Council District 6. This is another relinquishment of rights, 6640 Woodley Avenue, Lot A, parcel map 3637. Recommending the board, 1, execute the attached document relinquishing any and all rights to the City of Los Angeles for public alley purposes within the future alley shown on the exhibit or on the attached Exhibit A, subject to the following condition. Petitioner shall make satisfactory arrangements with the Real Estate Division, red, of the Bureau of Engineering, 1149 South Broadway Street, 6th floor, Los Angeles, California, 90015, with respect to payment of document recording fees. 2, request the city clerk attest the signatures of the Board of Commissioners. And 3, instruct the red of the Bureau of Engineering to record the executed document in the office of the county recorder when the condition in recommendation 1 has been satisfied. All right, Bert, so this one's an alley.
That is correct. So this one is the request to relinquish an alley behind 6640 Woodley Avenue, future alley. That future alley was created with the recordation of parcel map 3637, which recorded January 16th, 1978. The acceptance of that future alley was not endorsed as part of the map, and that lot was subsequently sold to third parties. That future alley has not been used or approved as a public alley. Council District 6 has been notified and has no objections to the request. It's been over 25 years. It has recorded, and we were asking that the board execute the relinquishment documents associated.
Thank you, Bert. Okay, any questions, Vice President Garcia?
No real questions. I'm just wondering, what is that? Number 3, it says instruct the red of the Bureau of Engineering. What's RED? I should probably know this, but I don't.
It's Bureau of Engineering's Real Estate Division.
Okay, sorry. Got it. No problem. That's all.
Okay. President Pro Tem Davis.
None for me.
All right, and Commissioner Villegas?
No questions, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to move this forward?
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got 2, Vice President Garcia and President Pro Tem Davis. So I don't object. So the item is approved forthwith. Thank you all. Okay. Item number 16, Dr. Campos, do we have a speaker?
Yes, we do. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 16. Please press *6 to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. Please press *6 at this time. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 16. Last call for caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. Please press *6 at this time. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 16. You have 3 minutes and 1 second left under the 10-minute rule. Mr. President, no response from the caller on item 16.
Okay, so we have another relinquishment of rights. This is in CD 15. This is 16500 West Rinaldi Street, Lot 307, Tract 2465. Recommending the board, 1, execute the attached document relinquishing any and all rights to the City of Los Angeles for public alley purposes within the future alley shown on the attached Exhibit A, subject to the following condition. Petitioner shall make satisfactory arrangements with the Real Estate Division of the Bureau of Engineering, 1149 South Broadway, 6th floor, Los Angeles, 90015, with respect to payment of documentary or document recording fees. 2, request the city clerk to attest the signatures of the Public Works Commissioners. And 3, instruct the red of the Bureau of Engineering to record the executed document in the office of the county recorder when the condition and recommendation 1 has been satisfied. Go ahead, Bert.
Okay. So on this one, this is at 16500 Rinaldi Street. This future alley was reserved as part of Tract 20465, which recorded on December 21st, 1954. The acceptance of the future street was not, the future alley was not endorsed as part of the map, and the lot was subsequently sold to a third party. Has never been used or improved as public alley. Council District 15 has been notified and have no objection. Since 25 years has passed since the map was recorded, we're asking that the future street be relinquished through the documents provided.
Thank you, Bert. Any questions, Commissioner Villegas?
None.
Thank you.
I thought I was on mute. My apologies.
That's all right. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes, Bert, on this particular property, it is obviously adjacent to private property. Is that right?
It would be yes, it is adjacent to the private property. It really is private property because it's a future alley, and at one point in time they had envisioned that this alley would go through, but since the subsequent changes in the way the area developed, it was never accepted.
Is this property a homeowner?
It's a good question. Looking at the photos, I believe it is.
And does this person accept responsibility now, I guess, for cleaning the alley, or what's the plan for the alley?
Okay, so it's the area highlighted in red on the drawing it's still private property, has been private property. So on the photo shown in the exhibit, you'll see the alley kind of terminates, and the area in red has been private property. It was reserved for a future extension of the alley, but the city never accepted it. So that has, for all intents and purposes, been private property. It still is private property.
So this is a neighborhood, this is a home, and this property was adjacent to the private property. We are relinquishing this portion of the property. I understood you to say that this property has been in operation or accounted for or assessed by us since 1954. And now that this is being relinquished, that the owner of the property, of the adjacent property, taking responsibility for this property, for this obviously relinquished property that we are attaching to their private property, correct?
I guess you could say that again. It has been entirely private property.
Right.
It's a reservation for should we had wanted to have it being dedicated as a public alley. We never actually dedicated it as an alley. We just reserved it. So they used it with certain limited restrictions, if you will.
Right.
And they're just looking to clear the title. But it is not like we're relinquishing an existing alley.
Okay, got it. So they basically had usage of this property already, but legally we are just kind of resolving the entanglement here because somehow we as city had some jurisdiction currently, as it currently is before this relinquishment. Is that correct?
Yes, so typically what happens when a map records, if we do not need the right-of-way immediately, we may reserve it as a future street or a future alley. Okay, and when this future is created under the map, we typically have 25 years to accept that future street or future alley. Since we did not need to exercise the right, we did not. But that tag, if you will, still sits on the title of the property that there is a future easement reserved for the city. So to help clean up the title, this is the mechanism to do that.
And this has been over 60 years, and so I hear you. Right? It's 1954.
1954, yes. So typically what happens is the applicant, if they're building on their property and they wind up with this easement, future easement appearing, they have to jump through some extra hoops. So this helps clean up the title going forward.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have a question so much that I have a correction to be made for it. This area is in CD 12, not CD 15. And I think it's just the incorrection is on the board report because the top says CD 15, but everything else is right.
I noticed the same thing. Thank you for correcting me.
Okay, just for the record too.
Gotcha.
That's CD 12?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Does that require, it doesn't require an amendment though, does it? I mean, it's just for the report.
No, I will make those notes on the journals and the minutes.
Great, thank you. Okay, all right, so with that, do I have a motion to move this one forward?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second? Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections?
No objections.
All right, hearing no objections, this item will be approved forthwith. Thank you, Bert, again. And now that brings us to our last one. This is also in CD 15, where there's not also. This one is in CD 15. This is relinquishment of rights 16827 Orchard Avenue, Lot 3, Tract 18011. Recommending the board, 1, execute the attached document relinquishing any and all rights to the City of Los Angeles for public street purposes within the future street shown on the attached Exhibit A, subject to the following condition. Petitioner shall make satisfactory arrangements with the Real Estate Division, RED, of the Bureau of Engineering, 1149 South Broadway, 6th floor, Los Angeles, California, 90015, with respect to payment of document recording fees. 2, request the city clerk to attest the signatures of the Public Works Commissioners. And 3, instruct the RED of the Bureau of Engineering to record the executed document in the office of the county recorder when the condition and recommendation 1 has been satisfied. Go ahead, Bart.
Would you like, Mr. President, would you like to
Sorry.
take the public comments?
Let's go ahead and open it up for our public comment if he or she chooses to avail themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 17. Please press star 6 at this time to speak. You will be given 2 minutes to speak. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. Please press star 6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 17. Last call for caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is considering item number 17. Please press star 6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on this item. Hearing no response, Mr. President, you are good to continue.
All right, Bart, go ahead.
Okay. This is a request to relinquish rights to a future street at 16827 Orchard Avenue, which is lot 3 of tract 18011. That area was reserved when their map recorded on 11/25/1957. The area has subsequently been sold to third parties, and acceptance of that future street was not endorsed as part of the map. The area has never been used or improved as a public street. Okay, Council District 15, I'm right on it this time, was notified of the proposed relinquishment and had no objection. Since the 25-year time limit has lapsed and the conditions for relinquishment have been satisfied, we're asking that the board execute the relinquishment documents.
All right, thank you, Bert. Vice President Garcia, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
All right, any questions, President Pro Tem Davis?
None for me.
All right, Commissioner Villegas?
No questions, thank you.
All right, Bert, I feel like you're going to be bored. So I don't have any questions either, but I will motion to move this one forward. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Objections, President Pro Tem Davis or Vice President Garcia?
No objections for me.
No objections either.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Bart, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Have a good, safe weekend.
Likewise.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, that brings us to item number 18. This is in CD 11. These are emergency change orders number 40 and 41 for OHL USA Inc. And this is on the Argo Drain Subbasin Facility Project. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue emergency change order number 40 for the Argo Drain Sub-Basin Facility Project for the installation of 8 infiltration wells using dry filling techniques for an amount not to exceed $200,000. And 2, authorize the city engineer to issue change order number 41 for the project for the installation of an additional 8 infiltration wells using dry drilling techniques for an additional amount not to exceed $200,000. Chris Johnson is with us. Colleagues, note that if approved, these do not, these items or these change orders are not subject to the cost containment, mayor's cost containment process. Dr. Campos, we have a speaker on this item.
We do. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403, please press *6 at this time. The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 18. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on this item. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403, please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 18. Last call for caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. Please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on item number 18. Mr. President, hearing no response from caller 403, please go ahead.
All right. Chris Johnson, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mr. President. How are you?
Good, good, good. Please, is that your COVID beard?
That's my COVID beard, yes.
It's very impressive.
A good 6 months worth.
Very impressive stuff. You and Dave Michelson are in a competition. I don't know if you've seen his. Ted Gordon and I are way behind. Fernando's working on his too. All right, Chris, this is a huge and important project. Please tell us about the change orders.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Johnson. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering Clean Water Division. The Argo Drain Subbasin facility was awarded to OHL USA by the board on June 27th, 2018 for $35,810,500, and construction began on September 11th, 2018. Project constructs facilities for pretreatment and infiltration of stormwater that is diverted from the Argo ditch within the north side of LAX and from a county storm drain in Falmouth Avenue near Westchester Parkway. Current project completion is expected in February of 2021. The report recommends approval of 2 change orders, and as Mr. President, you said, neither change increases or adds to the original scope of the work in the contract. In addition to a large buried tank, infiltration wells are used to infiltrate the stormwater into the ground in this project. Both of these change orders concern the methods used to install those wells. Contractors typically use either a dry or a wet method to prevent the sides of a well from caving in during drilling. Dry drilling methods use a steel casing to support the sides of the wells, whereas a wet method will use drilling fluids to support the sides of the wells. Dry methods, or the wet methods can reduce the infiltration capacity of a well, however. Now, the contract for Argo does not specify a method for installing the wells, and the contractor's proposed method using drilling fluids negatively impacts their infiltration rate. 2 wells were initially drilled using the wet method, but performance tests on those wells showed that the infiltration rate did not meet the design requirements set by the geotechnical engineer of record. Contractor also installed 2 other wells using the dry method, and their performance met the design requirements. An emergency change authorization to direct the contractor to use the steel casing or dry method was approved by our BOE liaison, Commissioner Colosa, for the first 8 wells. The dry drilling method requires additional time and equipment at a cost of $25,000 for each well. The total cost of the 8 wells in emergency change order 40 then is $200,000. Change order 41 includes the cost to construct the remaining 8 infiltration wells at a cost of $25,000 per well, also for a total amount of $200,000. So the 2 change orders total $400,000, which constitute a 1.1% increase in the contract amount. With these changes, the total change orders for the project will come to 1.5% of the contract amount. That also accounts for a recent $355,000 deduction for landscape scope that the board approved about a month ago. With that, I can take any questions.
Thank you, Chris. All right, colleagues, Commissioner or President Pro Tem Davis, any questions?
Absolutely.
All right, Vice President Garcia?
No questions either, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Villegas?
I have no questions either. Thank you for that presentation. It was very well explained. Appreciate it.
Yeah, agreed. One question, Chris. So was this an error by the contractor? Or miscalculation?
You know, infiltration wells and water production wells are really kind of 2 different animals. Infiltration wells are pretty recent. You know, historically, going back thousands of years, we drill wells to bring water out of the ground. But drilling wells to put water into the ground presents some challenges. Particularly, it's very sensitive to the method that's used. Oftentimes, we will sole source a contractor to do this kind of work. And you know, you pay a premium if you sole source, or you can pay a premium to direct the methods of the contractor if you allow it to be freely bid like this. So I wouldn't characterize it as an error by the contractor. It's more because we're not really able to have the contractor bid on the performance requirement of the well itself, because it's so sensitive to the method and to the site conditions. You know, it was a risk that was taken at the time of the design, and this is what it cost. It could very well have turned out that the wet method wells would still have performed.
And just for very lay perspective, how again does the wet wells process work, if it does, when it does work, or how is it approached? I mean, the dry wells is sort of intuitive, it seems. I don't get how wet wells work under any circumstance without.
Yeah, when you mean as far as the installation, when drilling the well, the contractor has to face the possibility as they're boring this hole down that the walls are going to collapse on the side. These wells are on the order of 100 feet deep. One way to do it, the dry method, is to put a steel pipe down the hole as it's drilled, and that physically keeps the sides of the well open. But of course, that's a lot of work to stage 100 feet of casing down a hole. You need an extra crane, this sort of thing. A more common way for drilling a deep hole is to circulate fluid into the hole that, you know, has some viscosity to it and fills that void up so the soil won't collapse into the hole while it's drilled. The problem, if this were a water production well, they'd simply, once the well is completed, pull that fluid out and water would come in and they would develop that well by pulling the water out. When we have a dry well, we can't really do that. We get out as much of the fluid as we can, but there's always some residual drilling fluid remains, and that seems to be what's happening here, and it's preventing water from escaping the well when we put it into the well.
Got it. Okay, that's actually really helpful. All right, thank you, Chris, very much. I will motion to move this forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Any objections, President Pro Tem Davis?
None for me.
All right, thank you. And any objections, Commissioner Villegas?
None for me either, thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. Hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Thank you, Chris. Have a good weekend. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, we've continued item 19. That brings us to item number 20. This is in CD 11, and this is the addition of contractor to the pre-qualified temporary homeless housing contractors list. Recall that BOE put together, adding Murray Company. The item recommends the board, one, authorize the city engineer to add Murray Company to the short list of pre-qualified temporary homeless housing contractors, and two, distribute the plans to one of the pre-qualified contractors on the short list of qualified based temporary homeless housing contractors and negotiate a price or bid the project to the four qualified based firms on the list. Alan Kawaguchi is with us. Dr. Campos, do we have a speaker lined up?
Yes, we do. We have caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. Can you please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone? The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 20. Please go ahead. You have 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 1 second left under your 10-minute rule.
Yeah, so this is to build pallet houses and little shanty houses to house your homeless goats. And the reason you assholes are doing this is because you gave the contractors with Jose Huizar $400,000 per unit of homeless housing. So you stole the HHH money, and what you have left is money to build pallet houses, taking pallets from China and building little wood cabins for the homeless derelicts, niggers, and other losers in life. Congratulations, City of Los Angeles. Now you're going to put up these tiny little houses made up of wood from China pallets because you stole $1 billion cash. Good job. See you with Lori Loughlin over in federal prison next year, real soon, city officials. Rest of time, guys.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Campos. Alan, good afternoon. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, President Good. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Anyway, what this is a request by the city engineer to add Murray Company to our existing shortlisted qualified contractors, the municipal facilities qualified contractors. And back in July of 31st of this year, the board approved the city engineer to actually issue a questionnaire out to the existing 17 firms to try to see who would be qualified or would be interested in building what we would call these second phase or these tiny homes. We sent it out to the 17. Of the 17, 3 firms responded. Of the 3 firms responded, the board on October 6th added these names, and that was shortlisted to the 3. Since then, or in between that time, Murray Company had requested that they could be added to it, so we sent them the questionnaire as well, and they filled that out. They also were required to meet all of the original RFP items that were there, fill out all the forms, which they've all completed, and they've now done so, and we're requesting that Murray be added to the list. In addition, Murray also is they're on the Cisco contract. They handle the wastewater project, so they're very familiar with city process, and they also built our townhome refresh center, so they are familiar with homelessness as well. So we thought it'd be good. Again, the more firms that we can get on the list, I think the better for competitive bidding. Any questions?
Thanks, Alan. Can I ask you, I'm going to just start with a quick clarifying question. On the motion, on your second, on the second movement clause, it says the city engineer either distribute the plans to one of the qualified, does this also include a particular project, or is this simply to move Murray, put Murray onto the list?
No, Murray's going to be added to the list, added to 4, and I think what's happening is because if you don't know, a lot of the sites we're getting are very unusual, and sometimes the firms, we thought if it was very unusual or very small, that we may end up just picking one firm, because again, back on July 1st, the City Council gave the authority for us to do non-competitive bidding, so we would want that option to, again, you know, we didn't want to waste a lot of contractors' time if the project is very small. They would just have to get it, you know, so we would try to maybe focus on one firm. Again, also, it's very complex because some of our sites are, again, as I said, they weren't the most perfect of projects, so we would want to evaluate that in terms of if we want to go with a single firm or go with all 4 of the firms.
Right. Okay. That's just me misreading because the plans refers to basically future projects and just going to them along with the other 3, right?
That is correct. In fact, next week, if Murray's added, we would actually next week be going out to bid to the 4 firms. We held up the plans because in hope that we can get Murray on there so that we would get more firms to competitively give us a bid. Just to let you know, we probably are also looking, because it seems like we're getting a little more interest from the other firms again, even though we sent it back out on in like early part of July, the questionnaire, and only got response from 3. We have a few other contractors, so we're probably going to request the board to go back out, but we'll follow that up with a board report and tell the 17, redo your questionnaire, and hopefully, again, we can get a bigger list.
Okay, that's great to hear, Alan. Thank you. Okay. All right, questions or comments? Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions. Thank you. I do remember following this process along, so I'm glad that we have others that are also participating because our need is so great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yes, Alan, I wanted to ask, currently we had a pre-qualified list of 4 contractors, and by adding Murray, we now have 5. Is that correct?
It's the other way around. We actually had a pre-qualified list of, we had 17 originally pre-qualified. Okay. We sent the questionnaire out. We have only 3 people responding, and so now we want to add Murray to make it 4.
To respond?
No, okay. We sent the question out to 17 firms that were on our pre-qualified list. Of that 17, only 3 firms responded.
Right.
Murray, in between, had asked if they could also do some of the work, so we sent the questionnaire to them, and we're now asking the board to add Murray into our short list, only for homeless bidding, though, homeless projects.
Right. Is there a base expanding this outreach past the 17 that we reached to initially? In other words, are there other individuals to whom we can send the ask to consider this task other than simply Murray, who happened to just come to us? Are there others? Is there another base of contractors to whom in the future we might be able to send a request such as this with the goal of helping to increase the numbers of people to help us do this very important work?
Commissioner Davis, that's a good point. What we can do, we would come back to the board. In fact, in September, about a year ago, we went out with an RFP and we got 17 firms that, 8 firms that responded. Then we added another 9 back in December. So we did mention that the yearly or earlier than that, we could go back out with the RFP to add to the 17 if that's what you'd like us to do.
I would think so, because even though this is a kind of qualitative endeavor in terms of really not knowing who's going to respond, it appears to me, based upon the actuality of action we got and action we didn't get, to do further outreach would be to the benefit of both the engineering department and to the city. And I think the evidence of what we received from Murray in this particular motion supports the fact that that would be helpful to us to do. I would love to see us go past the 17. I don't know how we got that particular 17, but I believe that there are some others whom we did not get a chance to outreach to, like Murray, for example, who would be willing to help us. And of course, it's an ever-evolving project, and I realize that this is really an inexact science trying to help this homeless effort because it's endless. But meanwhile, if it is endless, our outreach to seek talent has to also be endless. It can't be just this 17. So yes, That's what I'd like to see us consider.
That's no problem. Like again, we did say that we could always open this list back up. Just to let you know, we did advertise originally on Babin, and we had 8 did it the first time. About a year later, we had we opened it back up. We got another 9 more. But that was about December. So I think again we can open it back up because I think the bidding environment, to be honest, since COVID-19 has changed.
Sure.
And I think a lot of more firms may be more interested. Whereas maybe last year December or November we didn't have as many interested.
Sure, and I think that this is the kind of project where, you know, sometimes we get lucky with the 17, but sometimes we don't, and that's okay. Let us continue to engage in the outreach, because what we do know is we do have a base of individuals who will do it, and sometimes they're not in the 17 that we initially chose.
That is correct.
My other issue for you is when you reported before to us about the project, you were able to share with us examples of, even though they didn't have to, some of the prime contractors were able to either subcontract or to be inclusive of small and minority businesses in the efforts that they were executing. Do you see that this is a possibility as we move forward, for example, with Murray, and the potential for others in the future?
Actually, that was one of the items in the questionnaire is about their outreach, and that was how they were rated. So Murray did say that they would outreach as well. So I think that this is just to add them to the list. So as we bid it and we get the firms on board, that's when we'll take a look at how their outreaching had done.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for your report.
Okay, no problem.
One clarifying question, Alan, but Murray comes from the 17, right?
No, they don't. They were actually added. We did speak to the city attorney about that, if we just add them, and he said because of the fact we have the ability to non-competitively bid, again, we're adding them just to the short list of 4, and they can't bid on everything. They can only bid on homelessness. That's where it is.
Okay, that's helpful.
President Good, and I did carefully take a look at that along with the earlier council authority that's referenced in the Bureau's motion, July action, that during the period of the COVID emergency authorized the suspension of the competitive bidding rules, but only for this narrow class of project. So in light of that, I concur with the Bureau's recommendation to onboard this additional firm that is interested in doing this very narrow category of project.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ted. All right, Vice President Garcia, questions?
I do not. Thank you. Nice to see you, Alan.
Nice to see you again. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. And Commissioner Villegas?
No, I have no questions.
All right. Then let's move forward. I don't have any questions either. I actually asked my question. Thank you. Do I have a motion to move the item forward?
So moved.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any objections? Vice President Garcia?
No objection.
All right. So hearing no objections, the motion is approved and adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Colleagues, item number 21 has been withdrawn, so we can go ahead and move forward to item number 22. 22 is a stop payment notice. Hardy & Harper, Inc. Hardy & Harper, Inc. is transmitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $118,002.52 for furnishing asphalt materials, concrete materials, and labor in connection with the Gilder Avenue and Wiley Post subsidence Boeing Avenue and 78th Street intersection reconstruction and 35th Street between Gramercy and Cimarron subsidence project. It's quite a project name. The primary contractor for this project is Los Angeles Engineering, Inc. This is obviously this is an administrative item, so no presentation. Dr. Campos, do we have a speaker for this item?
Yes, we do, Mr. President. Caller ending in 403, caller ending in 403. The Board of Public Works is now considering item number 22. You have 1 minute and 47 seconds left under your 10-minute rule. Please press *6 at this time to speak. Please go ahead. You have 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Yes. So a stop payment notice, that means I don't get paid. and you don't have a report. Nobody's here from the company to get their money. Really? So what's going on here? They're working in a very hazardous area, 78th Street, 35th Street. It's a rather dangerous area, isn't it? So $118,002.52 is for the hazard bonus, for going down into shitty areas and having to work where your car can get broken into, where it's dangerous. This isn't Beverly Hills. This is the hood. And when you're working in the hood, you should get more money. Release this hole. Give this $118,000 to this fine company. You give money away to everybody else. After all, you stole $2 billion through Measure HHH, and you steal another $100 billion through Measure H, and you give it to them. So what's $118,000 for your buddy Hardy and Harper? Come on, folks. It's getting near Christmas time. Give this Christmas bonus of $118,000 to this nice company. Do not stop paying. Let him pay to play your game. Thank you so much. That's well said. Give the money away.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any questions, colleagues? Vice President Garcia?
No question.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Villegas?
She may be on mute.
Any questions?
Commissioner Villegas.
I'm here looking at the camera like a dork. No questions, thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem Davis?
No questions for me on this item.
All right, I will motion to move this forward. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any objections, President Pro Tem Davis or Vice President Garcia?
None for me.
All right, hearing no objections, the stop payment notice is received forthwith. All right, with that, we will move to oral reports. We have status update on major upcoming street improvement projects. I think Sherrod Nichols. Hi, Mr. Nichols.
Hello, Sherrod Nichols.
Why don't you go ahead and jump in?
All right, good afternoon, President Good, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, and Dr. Campos. This information is being provided to keep the public informed on the upcoming resurfacing projects and minimize the impact on the community, as well as delays to the commuters. Streets LA would like to provide you with an update on all major upcoming street improvement projects. We have an update on our 2021 pavement preservation program citywide. During the week of November 1st through November 7th, 2020, citywide, we will complete 22 projects and 8.75 lane miles. Wednesday, November 4th, 2020 through Monday, November 9th, 2020, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., we will cold mill and pave Chatsworth Street from Canoga to Topanga Canyon Boulevard in CD 12. Chatsworth Neighborhood Council. Pavement preservation is the funding. Wednesday, November 4th, and Thursday, November 5th, from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., we will cold mill and pave Rinaldi, Gaynor Avenue to Gaviota Avenue in CD 12. Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council, funding DWP. We have released all the press releases. We have broadcast. All press releases have been broadcast. Affecting CDs involving with outreach have been reached Recently is communicated with DOT for traffic control needs, and this concludes my report.
Mr. Nichols, what did you say was going to be done? What, is there work being done on Tuesday, November 3rd?
Yes. Let's see. No, actually, we're off on November 3rd, election day. We'll be off that day.
That's, I wanted to just confirm that. Okay, great. All right. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Garcia?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, President Pro Tem Davis?
Yeah, is this your first presentation before the Board of Public Works?
It is not.
Oh, it's not? I don't know where I was that day. Where was I?
You were there, actually.
Oh, okay.
We took pictures after.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a retirement or something, and we all took pictures together. But
well, congratulations for getting a chance to come back.
Thank you very much.
All right, and Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
Thank you.
Folks, we have quite a number of presentations on personal services contracts. I'd like to take a 3-minute recess. Everybody, literally hold tight. So 3 minutes, okay?
Yeah, we appreciate these, Mr. Good.
We'll be back at 2:58.
Thank you.
Hi, Fernando. Sorry, this is Nancy.
Give me 1 second, Nancy, please. Mr. President, the recording is now started. Let me go ahead and start by establishing roll call, if that's okay with you.
Yes, sir.
Great. Reestablishing roll call. It is 3:03 p.m. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Villegas. President Good, you do have a quorum.
Okay. Welcome back, folks. Thank you. This is item number 24. We have status of all personal service contracts from the bureaus. Before we get started, we have folks, representatives from each bureau except for BSL, where there's no update. Dr. Campos, do we have a speaker on this item?
Mr. President, we do have a speaker card on item number 24. However, under the 10-minute rule, that speaker has exhausted his 10 minutes.
Oh, he has? Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you very much. So let's go right into item 24.
We have more time.
Thank you. So, Mr. Vandergriff, and let's start with BOE.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Mr. Huffman, how you doing?
Good.
Good. How you doing?
So I'll begin. Good afternoon. My name is Willis Huffman from the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. I'm here today to present the Bureau's construction order report for the period of July 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2020. On November 20th of 2018, the Board of Public Works adopted supplemental to proposed policy 793, which requested a quarterly aggregate listing of construction orders issued under the city engineer's authority of $150,000. The report before you includes a list of construction services contracts managed by the Bureau of Engineering and provides the work order title, issuance date for each construction order issued within the quarter under $150,000. The total amount issued is also included at the top right of each table. Since the board is responsible for and has jurisdiction over the design, construction, maintenance of public space throughout the city, BOE uses various construction services contracts that authorize BOE staff to use on-call lists of contractors to provide emergency and as-needed repair services throughout Los Angeles for typically a 5-year contract term. To issue notices to proceed with work on these contracts, we typically utilize what we refer to as construction orders, which is different from a change order. Construction order document typically defines the scope of work, project budget, and method or payment. These documents are signed by the engineer and senior engineer after the contractor accepts the work. So the report before you provides the aggregate listing of construction orders under 150,000 per the construction services contract. So if we take a look at the report, so within this period, there were no construction orders issued for municipal facilities and related projects, emergency geotechnical and structural, street improvements, no reports, no construction orders issued during that period. Also, there were no construction orders issued through or under emergency demolition services, emergency construction and repair services at wastewater treatment plants. However, we did issue 4 construction orders under emergency storm drain repairs in a total amount of $175,000. And we issued about 148 construction orders under the emergency sewer repairs in an approximate amount of $4.2 million. Are there any questions?
Vice President Garcia, any questions?
No questions. Thank you for your report.
Okay, President Pro Tem Davis.
None. Status of all personal services contract. Okay, I think I'm pretty clear on this one. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman, for your report.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions. Thank you. Thank you for the report.
Just to replay really quickly, Mr. Huffman. So under policy number 793, this is a report on all personal services contracts, which includes construction orders. Did you say under 150,000?
Under 150,000. Yes, that's correct.
You said incorporating all the different contracts, construction orders. We've had 100. How many did you say have been?
For sewer, the sewers, emergency sewers repairs, there's been 148 issued, and for the stormwater, storm drain repairs, there's only been 4 issued.
And that's in the last quarter.
Yes.
Oh, no, that's through the year.
Period. Yes.
It's from January 1.
No, from July 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2020.
Okay, a lot. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Huffman.
Thank you.
Mr. Vandergriff.
Afternoon, Commissioners, President Good. So I'm here to present the Bureau of Engineering's report for policy number 793 for the personal services contracts for the quarter from July 1st through September 30th of 2020. During that time, during this quarter, we had 150 active projects. 41 of those projects are currently in a negative deviation as far as their MBE, WBE outreach goes. Under the invoiced activities for the outreach program, under the MBE, WBE portion of the program, we have 32 contracts. Under MBE, the amount invoiced in total for those 32 contracts is $2,322,988. Under MBE, it was $265,074 for 11.4%. For WBE, it was $131,670 for 5.7%. For OBE, it was $245,081 for 10.5%. Total was $641,825 of the amount invoiced, or 27.6%. Under the Business Inclusion Program, we have 85 contracts. The amount invoiced during this period was $6,646,624. Under the MBE program, there were $713,011 invoiced, or 10.7%. Under the WBE, there was $1,006,067, or 15.1%. Under the SBE, there was $1,304,970, or 19.6%. Under the EBE, there was $687,173, or 10.3%. Under the DBBE, there was $120,448 or 1.8%. The OBE was $1,077,627 or 16.2%. That totals to $2,847,605 or 42.8% of the invoiced amount. The Disadvantaged Business Outreach Program has 33 contracts, and the amount invoiced for this period was $1,006,332. Under the DBE, there was $23,430 invoiced, or 2.3%, and the OBE was $189,706, or 18.9%. The total subs invoiced were $213,136, or 21.2%. For tasks awarded under $150,000 for the policy number 793, under the MBE WBE outreach program, there were no tasks awarded. Under the business inclusion, there was one task awarded to Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solutions for an amount of $150,000. There were no tasks awarded under this program for the Disadvantaged Business Outreach Program. Under the task awarded over $150,000, there were no tasks awarded under any of the programs. The Task Force Solicitation Update Policy number 793, the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network continues to perform well, and there were no issues nor complaints during this reporting period. There were no new contracts executed during this period. There is one contract that expired, which will be archived, and that will be WLC Architects, and it expired on September 30th of 2020. There is one contract that's already expired for this quarter. That was the bogus Lend-Lease contract. It expired on October 1st, 2020. There were authorized notices to proceed totaling $21,200,000, and that contract will be archived. There was one amendment executed to FSY Architects Incorporated for $0, and that was executed on August 21st for 2020 and extended the expiration date to March 22nd, 2022. There were no amendments that were unexecuted but approved by the board during this period. Skipping to the end of the report for our summary, under the MBE WBE outreach program with 32 contracts, there have been 183 tasks issued. The budget for those tasks is $108,456,892. The invoiced amount is $74,619,205 for 69%. In the MBE, we've achieved 10% or $7,529,073. Under the WBE, we've achieved 6% or $4,458,961. Under the OBE, we've achieved 19% for $14,244,681. Under the Business Inclusion Program, we have 85 contracts with 176 tasks for a budget amount of $158,724,452. The invoiced amount today is $71,928,800,000 for 45%. In the breakdown for that program, under the MBEs, we've received $11,734,071 invoiced, or an amount of 16%. For WBE, it's $9,010,698, or 13%. For SBE, it's $19,408,888, or 27%. For EBE, it's $13,108,087, or 18%. For DVBE, it's $1,042,347, or 1%, and OBE is $11,692,025, or 16%. Under the Disadvantaged Business Outreach Program, we have 33 contracts with 22 tasks for a budget amount of $61,355,164. We've been invoiced for $46,999,781, or 77%. For that program, $11,793,839, or 25%, has been invoiced by DBEs. For the OBEs, we've received $4,068,555, or 9% has been invoiced. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Vandergriff. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Vandergriff, for your report. During your remarks, you mentioned that there haven't been many contracts. Let me first ask, is this a quarterly report?
This is a quarterly report, sir.
And is this activity that you have read the data from a preceding quarter?
It's from the quarter of July 1st of 2020 to September 30th, 2020.
Great. So now, in understanding this data, it sounds that we are, I guess, making some progress, focusing our lens on September through, or July through September. It looks as if we have made some considerable progress as it gets to our disadvantaged business assessments. It appeared, based upon what I heard you say, the emergent business assessment, as well as small business assessment. It looks like we've done pretty well from that quarter on all fronts. What's your opinion of the data there?
Well, Commissioner, overall, I think we've been very successful in that area. However, what does have me concerned is because of some of the reductions that we've had to make in staffing as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and the cost containment measures, we have experienced some deficiencies in meeting our goals in the various programs, and I'm concerned that we may not do as well in the next quarter either for that very reason.
I was going to come to that inquiry, area of inquiry. Certainly, I understand, and I was going to ask the question, but it's evident what the answer is in terms of the impact of COVID-19 on our construction work, in terms of how we have been letting out contracts. And while we have not, the mayor has not relaxed the policy at all and has said that construction can continue, it appears to be some other issues that have arisen at your level of involvement that maybe you can share with me as to why there has been an underrepresentation of work in general for this quarter.
Certainly. So the personal services contracts are primarily focused on the design and the project management aspects of a construction project, as well as the pre-design and all of those activities related to therein. What we've been experiencing is a reduction in the demand on certain design programs. We've experienced a reduction in our wastewater program out of an abundance of concern for making sure that those funds remain fiscally viable. And so for that reason, we've had to reduce some of our design efforts in some of those programs. As a result, that has impacted our utilization of MBEs and WBEs. At the same time, we've also made efforts to utilize existing city staff to perform some certain tasks, such as our environmental reviews, and that's impacted the utilization of MBEs and WBE firms.
Well, here is my concern as it relates to that, not to cut you off. if in fact we have a policy that allows us to continue to fulfill our obligations and our need in construction, the things that we need in construction have not changed. If we needed to have design prior to COVID, we would need to have design in terms of the matter of business of construction. We would still need to have design today, correct?
That's true, Commissioner.
So now, here's my follow-up question. Well, if it is true we still need design today, why is it that we had to focus on changing the design when we know we still need design?
The best way that I can explain that, Commissioner, is that we've been asked to hold certain projects for construction while we ascertain the financial stability of the various funds and fund sources for those projects. As a result, that has slowed down the design of some projects, and it has slowed the construction of some projects. Indeed, there were a number of projects for which the Bureau of Engineering was ready to request the board to award those projects, and our client agencies asked us to put those awards on hold, which we proceeded to do. So even though we have a desire to move forward with construction as we have in the past, we have had to slow down in construction as far as issuing new contracts, as well as the design services related therein, while we assess our fiscal capabilities under these programs.
I'm a little bit confused. We were given the authority from leadership to continue a vibrant and viable construction community. And for everything that I can tell, based upon the motions coming before the board, we are still approving contracts to major prime contractors. That hasn't lacked. But yet, what I'm hearing from you is somebody, somewhere decided that we would not be able to take care of the small business designs and that there would be a decrease there. My understanding of the authority to have continued construction in the city wasn't that we could have construction for major prime contractors, but we couldn't have it for the small businesses. I never heard that.
I agree with you, Commissioner. We have not tried to in any way reduce the number of small businesses or in any way impact their ability to contribute to the construction community. We value their input. We value their expertise. However, in certain instances in the design and through the design process, we've had to reduce the scope of work. And in so doing, the prime contractors for our consultant services have often...
So here's where I'm confused. I hear exactly what you're telling me. You're telling me because of COVID-19, while we have been given authority for construction on one hand, we've had to downsize our output of construction on the other hand. And I'm confused about that gap. Where did it come from that we had to downsize our construction output for the very same project that we offered you an opportunity to continue? The design hadn't changed that I know of. If we, for example, had building A and leadership said you can continue construction, they didn't design a decrease in the requirements of building A. Building A is still the same, and you can build it. That's what leadership said. So I'm really confused, Mr. Vandergriff, and I know this is not you in particular, but you understand what I'm saying from a public policy perspective. This whole decision that all of a sudden summarily we have this decrease of design doesn't add up.
I understand what you're saying, Commissioner, and I believe that it would be better for us to present that information to you.
Yes, sir.
In a separate forum and
Yes, sir.
try and address your questions more specifically.
I appreciate that.
Can I just get a little clarification though, Mr. Vandergrift? Because I'm not under the impression, President Pro Tem Davis, that we're limiting design versus construction. Everything's being limited. I mean, the decree is from the CAO and from the mayor's office that we are facing that everything is being bottlenecked. And this is not an arbitrary decision by engineering. Am I correct, Mr. Vandergrift? What you are referring to is the cost containment process that is putting everything that is not absolutely required on hold and subject to a process.
That's correct, President Good.
Right. But if we are going to construct President Good, then in the construction requirements, it is inextricably tied to the design of the project. So if the mayor's office and what was the other office you mentioned?
Called the City Administrative Office.
Okay, and the CAO's office, if they both authorized us to build Building A, they didn't authorize us to build Building A without the design.
I'm not hearing that that's actually happening. Because you can't build a building without design. What I'm hearing is that these are separate sort of projects. If you have a building that's being constructed, somebody's got to design it. The design contracts first. And if a project is deemed that it is not absolutely necessary to move forward, then you have different departments that are holding off on asking the Bureau of Engineering to do those design contracts because they are going to be declined, most likely, and in consistency or consistent with the directives of the CAO and the mayor's office under the cost containment process. So I'm not hearing that Mr. Vandergrift disabuse me of this if I'm off. Are there construction contracts that are moving forward that don't have design elements?
There are no construction contracts moving forward without design elements.
Okay.
What I am trying to express is that it's in the design area itself where we've had some decrease in our participation. And that is because we have, as you pointed out, President, requirements that restrict us from moving forward on some of those designs and some of those design elements, particularly when we get into areas where we're exploring the scope of work, we're finding differing site conditions, things that were unanticipated, and now all of a sudden the scope of work changes. It has an impact on some of these smaller elements of any given project.
Okay, so I appreciate a briefing, and I think you know the drift of what I would like to see innovatively, given the fact that we have a complex challenge. Oftentimes does not mean that there cannot be innovation in the way in which we approach it, and that it does not mean that we can't set some goals to try to figure out how we can further research what options might be available for us to further reinvigorate that area of work, because it's construction work too. It's, as I said earlier, inextricably tied to construction. So nothing will hurt us from exploring how we can look at solving that problem, even given the policy. I'm clear on the policy of the mayor and the CAO's office. That's not my question. My question is around our administrative choices and the potential needs that we have to explore further options on including some of those that you are talking about, Mr. Vandergrift, into the construction world. And I believe by rolling up our sleeves and further expanding the possibilities that we can improve even on the situation that we're in today as it relates to that category of construction work, specifically design and others. And that's all I'm simply saying. And maybe it can't be done, but it doesn't mean that we should not explore and try to look at it again.
We welcome that opportunity, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Villegas, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you. I'm good, thank you.
And Vice President Garcia, did I already ask you? I can't.
I don't remember, but I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Vandergriff. Dr. Campos, did you say Mr. Fuentes is also joining us from BOE?
He is no longer joining us.
Okay, so BOE is complete.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vandergriff. Thank you, Mr. Huffman. Y'all have great weekends. Happy Halloween.
You too, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Vandergriff.
Mr. President, for the Bureau of Sanitation, it's Alexa Esparza and possibly Nancy Lampton. I was not able to hear her earlier on, so I apologize for that.
Okay. I think I saw Nancy for a while. There we go.
I did, yes. I believe Alexa will kick us off for that bureau.
Perfect kickoff. Thank you.
Correct.
All right.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Alexa Esparza. I provide the administrative support for our Information and Control Systems Division for Los Angeles Sanitation. And I am reporting on our on-call contracts for sanitation automation technology projects. We have 9 on-call contracts to which we issue task order solicitations, and from there we enter into project task orders for individual projects. The contracts will expire on April 8th in 2021, and we will be exercising a 1-year renewal while we prepare an amendment to extend the contracts. We have 17 total task orders issued since April of 2016 when the contracts were approved. Of those task orders issued, we have awarded 11 of them. The total contract amount awarded is $16,774,975, and the total task order expenditures are $12,234,645. In response to a task order solicitation, the proposals must include a subcontractor utilization as outlined in the on-call contract, with the set anticipated participation levels as 10% MBE, 2% WBE, 1% SBE, 1% EBE, and 1% DBBE. The proposals must include a Schedule A with each proposal as also outlined in their contract. As of this reporting period, the total pledged for MBE is $4,033,200 with a 24% pledged. The achieved date is $3,111,412 with a percentage of 25.4% achieved. For WBE, we don't have an amount pledged, but we have achieved of $2,044,563 with a 16.7% achieved. For SPE, we have $643,795 with a 5.3% achieved. For EBE, we have $23,322 with a 0.2% achieved. And for OBE, we have $257,500 with a 2.1% achieved. The reporting period prior to that, there was one amendment which increased the total contract awarded, which I that's it for our contracts. Nancy will be reporting on the rest of sanitation's contracts.
Thank you, Alexa. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Nancy Lanton. I'm from the Administration Division from LA Sanitation in the Centralized Contracts Unit. I will be presenting the rest of the contract information for sanitation, and for the Commissioners, this is the very first page of my very long report that I sent, so this is the quarterly report summary that I will be reviewing, ending September 30, 2020. The total amount billed for sanitation's personal services contracts since last quarter is $38.1 million. Of those contracts, 15.8 are from the old MBE WBE outreach program contracts, and 22.2 million is from the new business inclusion program contracts. The breakdown of subcontractor participation for the older program contracts, 0% for MBE, 6.4% for WBE, 0.3% for OBE, for a total of 6.6% or $1,053,000 for under the old MBE WBE program. Under our new business inclusion program contracts, we achieved 12.6% MBE, 3.3% WBE, 11.0% SBE, 6.7% EBE, 0.7% DBBE, and 9.7% OBE for a total of 6.184 and 27.8% being paid out to those subcontractors for this reporting period. For sanitation, we do report on contracts expiring within the next 9 months. We have 3 contracts expiring. The first one, I do want to make note on record that this was classified that this was not going to be renewed. This is USA Waste of California. This one's expiring May 2021. This is for our processing and reuse of green material, food material, horse manure. That contract does have a 5-year renewal option, and we may renew that contract based on negotiations with the contractor. If we do not renew that contract, we do have other contractors who are providing these services. So that's a May renew. This next contract on there is City Fibers, expiring May of 2021. That is our contract for processing our blue bin recyclable materials. We are currently reviewing proposals from contractors on that contract, and we will execute new contracts selected through the RFP process. And the third contract we are not renewing is for Browning Ferris Industries of California. That one's expiring next year, June 30, 2021. That is for our disposable municipal solid waste contracts. That one we also put out an RFP, and we are currently executing new contracts with new selected proposers. For our stormwater management program, we do not have any contract expiring in the next 9 months. For our clean water program, we have 12 contracts expiring within the next 9 months. 9 of those are actually Alexa's on-call contracts for our automated IT support. The last 3 on the bottom here is for Southern California Coastal Water Research. That one is expiring June 30th, 2021. That's for our joint powers agreement to conduct marine environmental research. We are preparing a 5-year amendment for that, and that will be presented to the board hopefully within the next few weeks. ABB Enterprise Software, that one's expiring June 30th, 2021. That is a sole source contract for software maintenance, and we will be preparing a new sole source contract for those services. And finally, USA Waste of California, expiring June 30th, 2021. That is for our landfill disposal of grit and screenings over at our Hyperion plant, and we are exercising a 3-year renewal option in that contract. Finally, I'd like to note in the quarterly report, there is some deviation concerns with our contracts and with our MBE, WBE, SBE, and others. There are 22 contracts that are currently showing up with deviation concerns. A majority of those contracts, 15 of them, are from our task orders awarded under the on-call contracts. And the main reasons for these deviations include reasons such as Sanitation has revised some of the scopes of services and may have performed a portion of the work. So some of those subcontractor goals may not be met. And the subcontractors will be utilized towards later phases of the projects. So those participation levels we do anticipate to increase. And in accordance to policy 793, I'll give a quick update on our on-call contracts. Sanitation has 24 on-call contracts to provide as-needed planning and technical services for all our programs. These contracts were executed in July 2014. We did a renewal, a 5-year renewal on those. They're expiring July 2024. To date, we have awarded $218.5 million in contracts under the on-calls. We have paid out $119.8 million, so about 55% has been paid out. Our pledge participation goals for these contracts, and these are total pledge goals, are 18.7 for MBE, 6.4% for WBE, 18.9% for SBE, 12.1% for EBE, 0.6% for DVBE, 15.2% for OBE. For our TOSs that have been issued that are less than 150,000, that total contract amount is 4.9 million, and we've paid out 3.7. For TOSs that are more than 150,000, we have awarded 213.5 million, and we've paid out 116.1 million. So about 54.4% have been spent on those contracts. So that concludes my report for the quarter. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any questions, Vice President Garcia?
No questions on my end. Thank you, Nancy.
All right. Any questions by our President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes. Hi, Nancy. Thank you so very much for your report. I wanted to touch bases with you on the change of scope for the work. Your reporting period was also from September to July, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you mentioned that there was a change of scope on the work?
On some of them, what we do with these deviations is we reach out to the prime contract, I'm sorry, not the prime, the PMs, the project managers, because there are multiple tosses involved that could be different reasons for the deviations, and that's some of the reasonings that we get from them, such as one of the larger ones on the report, we have a contractor that is no longer doing a type of outreach for us because they used to do a lot of printing by paper. Now everything's done online. So changes in scope of work in terms of what we're asking from them. So various reasons. So yes, to answer your question, that could be a reason for the...
Okay, so we changed the scope of work on, was it one project or several projects?
Several projects. I could get more information from you on the certain ones.
Yeah, because if we change it on several projects, was it the same reason for changing it on several projects?
No, it's each project is different on a scope-by-scope basis.
So there were different reasons for changing the scopes of the project over the preceding quarter.
Right.
Did COVID-19 have anything to do with changing the scope of the project, to your knowledge?
Not really. I mean, in general, we looked at the numbers, our achieved levels. They've been consistent from when we looked at our September 30, 2019 numbers. We were about 28% on our SBE, MBE numbers, and it's about the same this year. So we didn't see too much related to that.
Well, I'm talking about only the quarter from September to July that you just reported on, not the annual, but the most recent data that you reported, because you just reported to me, and the data that you shared just a few minutes ago was from the operating period of September to July, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you also said that there was a decrease in terms of the scope of work in that period of time. And it didn't have anything to do with COVID-19.
No, not specifically, at least from the information that we see from our project managers.
Okay, so would you say that we had perhaps a different level of change in scope of work this quarter than the preceding quarter before in your other report?
A different level?
In other words, the quarter before you reported this one, the last quarter, did we have a decrease? Did we have a same pattern of decrease in the prior quarter?
Well, I'll have to take a look a little bit more in detail. Unfortunately, we weren't required to do our quarterly report, so we didn't go back to our project managers in that respect and making sure our report was completed. So I can get more information you on that. The difference between April, May, June, and then July, August, September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I can reach out more specifically because these numbers are based on multiple tosses. So it'll be better for me to reach out to the PMs on what exactly their numbers were. Actually, I do have overall numbers from my report, but unfortunately, because we didn't.
You can give me. You can give that to me at your convenience. Not a problem.
Because I didn't. Unfortunately, didn't research it as much last quarter because we didn't have to complete our quarterly report in the same way. I didn't get as much detail from the project managers. We do have it, but I don't have an aggregate report on the reasoning for the change, for the reason for our negative deviation.
Let's talk about the impact of the action. It was a kind of series of change of scope. What was the impact of that? You're saying the impact of the change of scope was what happened as a result of that? It kind of justifies the numbers of the underrepresentation that we have on inclusion, basically, right?
Yes, we weren't able to utilize our subcontractors the way we thought we would.
So yes, I've been kind of zeroing in on this decrease of subcontractors, some of whom happen to be from areas where we really like to have inclusion. And I'd like to better understand, and I realize that you're going to brief me later, I'd like to better understand this decrease in this scope of work and what caused this need for the decrease, which you've shared with me now. While you don't have the particulars, that there are multiple reasons for this rash of decrease of scope of work. So I look forward to hearing from you and getting a better understanding so that I can increase my awareness of this decrease of scope of work and its impact. And hopefully, once we discover this, we can talk about ways to explore how we can create projects in such a way that we embrace as many opportunities as possible to continue the inclusion of those small businesses to the degree that we can. And it takes some exploring and some stretching to do that. But again, I'm not able to comment totally because we don't have all the data as to why there was a decrease in the scope of work. But we do know that the Bureau did make a decrease in the scope of work. So I'll look forward to hearing from you on that.
Yeah, and one of the things we are doing is every month when the PM reviews what we call a Schedule C. It's actually the backup documentation to an invoice in terms of what they've paid out to a subcontractor for the month. If they're not on track with their goals or if they don't anticipate it meeting their goals, to note on there to us and document why every month so that we are closely monitoring the levels every month, every invoice that's paid out. So
well, your case is different than some of the other cases. Some of the other cases had to do with COVID-19 and its impact upon the construction community. But as you have just stated, that didn't have anything to do with your decrease of scope of work. And yet at the same time, we just want to make sure as we look at our reports and how we can make sure that we have a vibrant not only construction community, which the mayor and the CEO has made, or CAO has made sure of by their continued decision to continue our construction. And at the same time, I think those of us on the board want to make sure that we also do everything humanly possible to ensure that we are able to meet the gaps that have appeared in terms of the potential, maybe unintended, decrease of some of the small business inclusion opportunities that should go along with, as it always has, with the construction world. So I look forward to your response to me, and I thank you once again for your report.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Commissioner Villegas, any questions or comments?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate the report, both from Nancy and from Alexa. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I do think I would be interested to know, and I do hear you, Nancy, it would be interesting to know maybe less April, April, May, June, and more January, February, March, to just understand the comparison in terms of subcontractor deviations pre-COVID versus during COVID, because what you could end up seeing in April, May, June is, an aberrant sort of number, given that was the real thrust of it. It would be, provide that data, but I'd be really curious to know what it looked like pre-COVID versus these last 3 months as well. Okay, thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Alexa. Let's go now to Roger Chai. Hi, Mr. Chai, and I apologize for messing up your name.
No worries. It's Che. It's pretty simple. Yeah. That extra H kind of confuses people sometimes.
It's interesting. It's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, good afternoon, Mr. President, commissioners, and executive staff. My name is Roger Che, and I am with the Office of Wage Standards, Bureau of Contract Administration. During this reporting period, which covers the third and fourth quarter of fiscal year 1920 and the first quarter of fiscal year 2021, our office held 10 contracts on the pre-qualified on-call list for various wage standards enforcement and city labor standards projects, which are set to expire in 2022. The amounts of $13,523.42 was invoiced against TOS OWS 19-001, and $35,727.12 was invoiced against TOS OWS 20-001, totaling $49,250.54 during this reporting period. Both task order solicitations provided targeted direct outreach on the city's minimum wage, paid sick leave, and fair chance initiative for hiring topics, where TOS OWS 19-001 concentrated outreach towards employers, and TOS OWS 20-001 to employees and applicants within the city. BCA did not issue nor award tasks over $150,000, nor are there any amendments executed or pending. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Villegas?
No, I just feel bad that you had to wait that long to give your report, but I do like your tie.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vice President Garcia?
I don't have anything. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then President Pro Tem Davis?
No, thank you, Roger, for your report.
Yeah, by the way, I like Davis's tie. I think that's pretty
I like
sweet.
yours.
Great. All right.
Thank you, Roger.
All right. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Heidi. So our next up is Monica in Johnson Phone. Hi, Ms. Shelton. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Mr. Sapone, from Streets LA. Give it to us.
Okay, so my name is Monica, and I'm going to be the one presenting our quarterly status report for the personal service contracts for the Bureau. One small correction on our report that we submitted, we do show that the reporting period is October 1st through December 31st, but it actually covers from July, August, and September. But the data that is presented will still be, is still accurate. So what we have, and having said that, we have a total of 8 contracts that are on this list, 5 of which are personal service contracts, 1 TOS, and 2 letter of agreements versus an AFE that does provide services. We have 2 pending RFPs that are, we're going through the evaluation process. We've already received the bids, and we're going through the process, and we'll be bringing forward a report on those items within the next few weeks. And then, let me see, the most, probably most important that we have on here is our as-needed haul truck contract program. We're going to be coming back to the board on that item as well, because the way it's set up right now, the funding is only going to take place through
Through when?
December. We're going to be coming soon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, questions, colleagues? Let's start with President Pro Tem Davis.
Okay. So basically, Monica, you were explaining to us that in this quarter, your scope of time was from July to December, is that correct?
September.
Oh, to September, July to September. And we have only 2 pending contracts that are up for consideration, correct?
Yes, and we do have 1 contract that's on here that will be expiring, but we're going to be reporting that on the next quarter, but I can address it today if you like.
What kind of, you're one of our bigger departments. I've noticed a trend here. Where are you on small businesses? Have we had a decrease in small businesses from you from this quarter as well? Small business, minority business inclusion? Have we had a decrease from you as well?
I can't answer that question when you say it's a decrease in small businesses.
In terms of those contractors that you've reported on today and the subcontractors that they have on their projects, was there a decrease of those for the work that they have submitted from the last quarter, or was it on schedule with what they proposed in their plans?
Okay, well, we only have the 1 contract, and that has subcontractors on that one, and that's our Clean Harbor, and it's been pretty consistent with the reporting.
Oh, great.
The other contracts are smaller contracts.
Wonderful.
The business inclusion program piece of it was waived, so we don't have subcontractors on the other project.
Which project was that?
That they were waived?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that would be from the Venice Canal project, the heavy haul, which is probably going to be like a brand new one, and our freeway off ramp.
So then the other one that you have where you did have some minority inclusion was, what project was that? You said you only had 2, correct?
Yeah, we had the Clean Harbor, and we also had the Far East contract.
Is the Far East contract what kind of contract is it? It's the median?
That's the Wilshire Miracle Mile assessment.
Okay. And any one of those have subcontractors on it? None of those?
No, just the Clean Harbor is the only one.
Okay, just the Clean Harbor. And that one is pretty much in place?
That one is pretty much.
And the other one that you had is exempt from having that requirement?
Correct.
So you didn't really have very much at all? Okay. Well, thank you for your report. Now, also, you said that your next report will be in December?
Well, we're going to try to do it sooner, like maybe November.
Are you going to have a report in November? When do we report, President? Is it every quarter or?
Yeah, it's quarterly. So I actually think, Monica, are you suggest you'd like to do another update before then?
Well, according to our schedule, the next reporting that we're going to be doing, our oral reports, will be November 24th, according to the schedule, unless it changes.
Oral reports on contracts, on personal services contracts?
On our contracts. It's an oral report on contracts expiring within 90 days, unless I'm misreading.
Yeah. Just for clarification, this is Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. The meeting that Ms. Shelton Frierson is referring to is only for contracts that are expiring up to 90 days. So it's only for professional services contract, as opposed to the item before you today is a comprehensive look at our contracts in compliance with policy number 793. So the report coming back in about a month, it's only focused on the contracts that are going to expire within 90 days only.
Got it.
Okay, so this report that we're receiving today is a part of the quarterly report, Mr. President?
It is a quarterly report, yeah, on all contracts, comprehensive.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Shelton. Appreciate it.
Okay, Vice President Garcia.
I'm okay. I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. And then Commissioner Villegas, any questions?
I have no questions. I appreciate the report. Thank you.
Yeah, Monica, the Venice Harbor, that's part of the Clean Harbors contract, right?
The Clean Harbors?
That's the Venice, that's the one that does the Venice canals, right?
No, we actually have the Venice Canal contract. That's on our Mariposa.
Oh, that's, okay, that's actually listed as pending award.
Yes.
That was the one where, right, that's the one where we as a board voted to exempt because it's such a special. Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I've got. Thank you very much, Monica. So does John have additional reporting? Or is he just?
No, more than likely he probably does not, unless he wants to say something. He was just going to be my backup in case you talked about the trucker program.
Oh, gotcha. No, I think we're good. Okay.
Just a backup, Commissioner.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, John. Well done. And thank you, Monica, for your report. Really appreciate it. Have a great Halloween, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. That is, that's the conclusion. Any follow-up comments, Vice President Garcia, Commissioner Villegas, or President Pro Tem Davis?
No, nothing for me. Thank you very much, everybody that stayed this long.
Yeah, thank you. I have nothing either. Thank you.
All right.
Maybe we might have a time in a special meeting where they give us the quarterly stuff so we can digest it and there's not cognitive overload from the other prior issues, because in these reports, they are really good. Somebody was recommending that we do this, and we already do it in terms of through a quarterly effort to look at our inclusion and our achievement, or where the gaps are in terms of us reaching our goals to serve more people in the city of Los Angeles in terms of public contracting, so that what you're doing, President Good, is every quarter we're really doing what people are asking us to do. We are already doing it. And I think focusing in on it in a time where people are fresh and can do that and not cognitive overload, as I said earlier, with the other prior 14 issues, that it might serve us well to get the maximum input on that process, because I think it's a wonderful process for the board to engage.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'll talk to Dr. Campos about the best way to sort of handle these reports moving forward. Well received. All right, so with that, colleagues, this meeting is officially adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you. Good weekend, everybody.
You too.
Go vote.